My beloved child, before you continue watching, I want you to pause for just a moment and breathe deeply. Set aside every distraction, every worry, every unanswered question that has occupied your mind, and allow your heart to become still. There are seasons in life when you begin to believe that nothing is changing, that your prayers have disappeared into silence, and that the dreams you once carried with excitement have slowly faded beneath the weight of disappointment. Yet what if the silence you fear is not abandonment? What if the delay you struggle to understand is actually evidence that I have been preparing something far deeper than you can presently imagine? You may see another ordinary day approaching, but I see a sacred moment that has been woven into your journey long before you ever arrived here. Nothing about your life is random. Every tear, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer, and every burden you have silently carried has been noticed by me. I have not forgotten a single detail. Even now, while you wonder whether anything meaningful is happening, I am working beneath the surface in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. Stay with me, because what I want to reveal next may completely change the way you understand your waiting. I know there are hidden places within your heart that you rarely allow anyone to see. There are disappointments you no longer talk about because you have grown tired of explaining them. There are dreams you quietly buried because hoping again felt too painful. You learn to smile while carrying exhaustion, to remain strong while feeling empty, and to continue moving forward even when your soul longed simply to rest. But my child, I never intended for weariness to become your permanent condition. I never desired for you to mistake numbness for peace or silence for rejection. I hear every sigh you release when words fail you. I understand the prayers that never leave your lips because they are already known to me. Just as Joseph once sat in a pit believing his future had disappeared, there may be parts of your story that seem trapped in darkness. Yet what looked like destruction in Joseph's life became preparation for a purpose greater than he could have imagined. In the same way, the seasons you call delays are often the very seasons where I strengthen your heart, deepen your faith, and prepare you for blessings that would have overwhelmed you had they arrived too soon. Keep listening, because there is a reason your waiting has lasted longer than you expected. Many times you ask me to remove difficulties immediately because you simply want relief, and I understand that desire. But my beloved child, I am doing more than changing circumstances. I am transforming you from within. If I gave you everything you requested before your heart was ready to carry it, what was intended as a blessing might become another burden. That is why waiting with me is never wasted time. Waiting is where faith matures. Waiting is where identity is restored. Waiting is where the false labels you accepted from failures, disappointments, and other people's opinions begin to lose their power over you. I do not see you as someone defined by mistakes or delayed answers. I see you as someone deeply loved, intentionally created, and carefully guided through every chapter of life. Even when you cannot trace my hand, you can trust my heart. I have been protecting things you cannot yet understand, preserving dreams you thought had died, and nurturing seeds beneath the surface that will emerge at the exact moment they are meant to bloom. And what I want to tell you next speaks directly to the deepest fear many hearts carry in secret. There are moments when you wonder whether you still matter to me because your circumstances have not improved, your prayers remain unanswered, and your strength feels fragile. Yet I want you to know this with certainty. Your worth has never depended on your achievements, your success, your perfection, or anyone else's approval. Before you ever accomplished anything, before anyone praised or criticized you, I already called you mine. I have never measured your value according to human standards. I see the person I created beneath the wounds, beneath the doubts, beneath the disappointments, and beneath the fear of hoping again. The dreams you buried have not been discarded. The prayers you stopped praying have not been forgotten. The tears you shed in silence have been remembered. What appears dormant is only resting in my care until the appointed time arrives. So do not close your heart because of yesterday's pain. Open it once more, because I am not leading you toward another disappointment. I am leading you toward a deeper encounter with my presence, where you will finally understand why I never allowed you to walk this journey alone. There are nights when your mind becomes crowded with unanswered questions, and you begin replaying old disappointments as if they were evidence that your future can never be different. You remember the opportunities that never arrived, the relationships that changed, the prayers that seemed to remain suspended in silence, and slowly you convince yourself that perhaps this is simply the way your story will always be. But my beloved child, I ask you today to stop measuring your life by what you currently see. I have never been limited by human timelines, closed doors, or impossible situations. Sarah laughed when she heard the promise because she believed the season for new life had already passed. Yet I brought joy into the very place where hope had nearly died. Lazarus lay in a tomb for days, and everyone believed the story was over. But I called life back into what people considered impossible. In the same way, there are things within you that you have declared finished, dreams you no longer mention, desires you have carefully hidden to avoid disappointment, but I still hear them. I remember every longing you entrusted to me, every whispered prayer you released in faith, and every tear that accompanied your waiting. What you call forgotten, I call preserved. What you call delayed, I call preparation. And if you can remain with me a little longer, you will begin to understand why I never rushed the process. I know that one of the greatest burdens you carry is not always pain itself, but the exhausting effort of appearing strong while feeling weak inside. You tell yourself that you must continue without slowing down, that you must solve every problem, maintain every responsibility, and carry every concern alone because no one truly understands what weighs upon your heart. Yet, my child, you were never created to survive by your own strength. You were created to live in relationship with me, allowing my presence to become the place where your weary soul finds rest. I do not ask you to come before me polished, confident, or emotionally unshaken. I simply ask you to come honestly. Bring me the doubts you try to hide. Bring me the fears you never speak aloud. Bring me the disappointment you still struggle to release. I am not offended by your questions, nor am I distant because of your uncertainty. Even the father who cried out, "I believe, help my unbelief," was met with compassion rather than rejection. Faith has never meant having every answer. Faith means continuing to move toward me, even when your vision feels unclear. It means trusting that I remain faithful even during seasons when your emotions tell you otherwise. And when you finally stop pretending to be unbreakable, you will discover that my grace has been waiting precisely in that vulnerable place. Perhaps the deepest wound within you is not visible to anyone around you. It is the quiet belief that you are somehow not enough. Maybe failures have whispered that you are inadequate. Maybe comparison has convinced you that others are more gifted, more successful, or more deserving of blessings than you could ever be. Maybe criticism from others slowly became criticism toward yourself, until you began seeing your identity through the lens of disappointment instead of truth. But my beloved child, I have never identified you by your worst moments. I do not call you by your mistakes. I call you by your name. I knew you before anyone formed an opinion about you. I loved you before you accomplished anything. Your worth was established long before you earned recognition, applause, or approval. Just as the father ran toward the prodigal son before hearing explanations or excuses, my love for you has never depended upon your performance. You are not someone struggling to earn acceptance. You are someone already deeply loved. The labels placed upon you by fear, failure, or rejection do not carry authority over your future. I am gently removing those false definitions so you can finally see yourself through my eyes. And when that truth begins taking root within your heart, everything around you will begin to look different. So today, my child, place your hand upon your heart for a moment and simply allow yourself to receive what you have spent so many years trying to earn. You do not have to force open every door. You do not have to understand every delay. You do not have to carry tomorrow's burdens while still recovering from yesterday's wounds. I am teaching you a new rhythm, one built upon trust instead of striving, peace instead of pressure, and surrender instead of endless control. Every silent tear you shed, every time you chose not to give up, every prayer spoken through trembling lips, and every step you continued taking despite uncertainty has been shaping a stronger foundation within you. You may not yet recognize the person you are becoming, because true transformation often happens quietly, hidden beneath ordinary days. But I see it clearly. I see a heart becoming steadier, a spirit becoming softer, and a faith becoming deeper. And what I want to reveal next may be the very message you have needed to hear for far longer than you realize. There will come a moment, my beloved child, when you look back over your journey and realize that what once felt like punishment was actually preparation. What seemed like abandonment was protection, and what appeared to be endless delay was my loving hand preventing you from receiving something before your heart was ready to carry it. You have often asked why certain doors remained closed, why some people walked away, and why answers seemed hidden behind long seasons of silence. Yet I was never absent from those moments. I was strengthening roots beneath the surface while you were searching for fruit above the ground. Just as a gardener patiently tends a seed long before anyone sees evidence of growth, I have been nurturing unseen places within you, teaching you perseverance, humility, compassion, and trust. Had I given you everything immediately, you might have celebrated the gift while missing the transformation your soul desperately needed. But now, through every disappointment, every unanswered prayer, and every season that tested your endurance, you have become deeper, steadier, and more capable of carrying what is coming next. What I have been forming within you is far more valuable than temporary success, because I am not simply trying to improve your circumstances. I am restoring the person I designed you to become from the very beginning. I know there are still dreams resting quietly inside your heart that you no longer dare mention. You remember the excitement you once felt when you believed those desires would become reality, but after months or years of waiting, you slowly stopped speaking about them. You convinced yourself that hoping again would only lead to another disappointment, so you locked those longings away in hidden corners of your soul. Yet, my child, nothing you have ever entrusted to me has been lost. No sincere prayer disappears into emptiness. No tear falls unnoticed. No act of faith, however small, escapes my attention. I have held every dream with tenderness, preserving it until the appointed moment arrives. And even if I do not restore those dreams exactly as they once appeared, I promise that what I awaken will be deeper, wiser, and more beautiful than what you originally imagined. The things you thought were buried have simply been sleeping under my care. Just as I called Lazarus from the tomb, I am able to speak life into places you assumed were beyond restoration. Therefore, do not fear reopening your heart. Do not allow yesterday's disappointments to determine tomorrow's expectations. There is still life where you once saw only silence, and there is still purpose where you once believed only loss remained. My beloved child, I also want you to understand that the healing I am bringing into your life goes beyond removing pain. I desire to transform the way you see yourself, the way you love others, the way you approach uncertainty, and the way you walk through difficult seasons. I want you to stop living as someone constantly seeking approval and begin living as someone who already knows they are deeply loved. I want you to stop defining yourself by failures, delays and comparisons, and instead recognize the identity I placed within you long before the opinions of this world reached your heart. You do not need to become someone else to receive my love. You do not need to prove your worth through endless striving. You only need to return to me with honesty and openness. Allow me to remove the labels you accepted from fear. Allow me to enter the places you have guarded for years. Allow me to remind you that your value has never been dependent upon achievement, perfection, or human recognition. You belong to me, and because you belong to me, your story is still unfolding. Even now, while you cannot yet see the full picture, I am weaving every broken piece into something beautiful, something meaningful, and something that will one day testify to my faithfulness. So as you move forward from this moment, my beloved child, do not rush ahead with anxiety, and do not remain trapped by what lies behind you. Walk gently, trusting that I have already gone before you. When fear whispers that nothing will change, remember that I am the God who brings light into darkness and life into places that seem lifeless. When weariness tells you to stop believing, remember that I have sustained you through every valley you have already crossed. When doubt asks whether I still see you, remember that I have never taken my eyes off you, not for a single moment. Continue taking small steps of faith, even if your voice trembles when you pray, and even if hope feels fragile. I am with you in every season, in every waiting room, in every unanswered question, and in every quiet moment where your heart longs for peace. The story of your life is not ending in disappointment, but moving toward restoration. The chapter you are standing in today is not the conclusion, but the preparation for something greater. And when the appointed season finally arrives, you will understand that through every delay, every tear, every hidden struggle, and every season of silence, I was never absent. I was walking beside you, shaping you, carrying you, and leading you into a future more beautiful than you ever imagined.